Hi, this is Tisch Aitken, and this is your Friday report. It is Friday, May 2nd, 2025, and we have the first pairing in our lifetime of Venus and Neptune in the cardinal fire sign of Aries. We have Venus in Aries frequently, unless it retrogrades. And while it was retrograde in Aries this year, none of us forgets that. But Neptune is newly in the cardinal fire sign of Aries, which is a whole new story around dreams, around the vision, because Jupiter rules Pisces in ancient astrology, and Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces. And Neptune is the dream, and Jupiter is the vision. But I'd say with the Neptunian energy, it is about initiating a dream, a long-term vision. Pluto's newly in the sign of Aquarius. It's not going back into Capricorn this year as it has in 23 and in 24. So we're entering new terrain. And Pluto and Aquarius story has been very chaotic. Now you have another outer planet. Doesn't move as slowly as Pluto, but Neptune takes 165 years to orbit. The last time it was in the sign of Aries was in 1861, right after the Civil War had just begun. I think it was within hours, but it was very soon after. And that's a long time ago. And we already had Mercury meet up with Neptune on the 17th of April, and Mercury, just like Venus, retrograded in the middle of March in Aries. Then it returned to the sign of Pisces. Now it's, moving ahead in the sign of Aries. And that's a really original placement for Mercury. It's fast thinkers often have that. It's a good placement for Mercury, getting it going. Whereas when it was in Pisces and all of the Neptune energy we were all experiencing in the late winter, early spring, it was very confusing. And then you had Venus and Mercury retrograding in Aries initially, close in degree, and then going back into the last decan of Pisces, close in degree. And a lot of other energy we won't repeat that I've talked about in a lot of videos, but Saturn and the North Node and Neptune influencing all of this. Now it's time to move ahead. It's the only week of the year where all of the planets are direct. And I am aware that Pluto is in its station as it's going to retrograde on Sunday. But right now we still have a new story. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. And it is a cardinal fire sign that gets things going. It charges ahead. It has one ruler, and that ruler is Mars. And we began the year with Mars retrograde, which it did on December 6th. That leads me to another part about today, is Mars finally cleared its shadow and reached 6 degrees and 11 minutes of the fixed fire sign of Leo, where it had retrograded on December 6th. So that's a while ago as well. It did station direct on February 23rd at, I believe at 18 degrees of Cancer. I can't remember now, but it did station direct, but it's been moving so slowly. And so and it entered its shadow on October 2nd. So it's been kind of slow, and it's moving ahead now, and that's a good thing. And it's in Leo, which is a fire sign, and this is about having courage to be yourself. The sun is exalted in the fire sign of Aries, and it's in its dignity in the sign of Leo. And Mars, which rules the sign of Aries, and we've got this Aries energy in the mix, even though it is Taurus season, is saying that we're initiating new beginnings. Aries is the child of the zodiac. It is the first sign. It's very enthusiastic and passionate about getting things going, about getting whatever your desires are, getting it in motion and catalyzing it and making it happen. Most Aries I know work out a lot and they need to be active and busy. They've got a lot of energy. And what's been something lacking for many of us when we had a lot of Neptunian and Piscean influence, and we still are not done with Piscean influence, believe me, but when we did, many of us either got sick or really tired and drained. It is allergy season where I am, so people are getting a little tired from that. But what's going on too? Venus is meeting up with Neptune today, and they've been building up. So there is still Neptunian influence, but there is a green light now saying, let's create a new dream together. 0 degrees of Aries, although I have to say the two met up at 1:07 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 1 degree and 8 minutes of Aries. So it's about a little over a degree off from the world point, but we'll count it, I think. It's very close. 0 degrees of Aries is known as the Aries point. It's the beginning of the zodiac. It's the first sign of the zodiac. It is at the world point, meaning major transits like Neptune, an outer planet. When it transits there, brings a big change on the collective. The world point influences all of us, but also people in leadership and can bring big world events. And the cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And 0 degrees and 22 degrees of those signs, if you have outer planets or you have something in your chart there and a big planet hits it, you're going to feel major shifts in your life. And we are on the collective tapping into a way of healing and of nurturing ourselves, of being creative. Saturn has been in Pisces since March 7th of 2023. That's another thing that's not far ahead because we're now in May, is that Saturn is going to ingress into Aries, the sign of Aries, on May 24th. I can't believe that's this month because it has gone by quickly as much as there's been very held back energy. And it will enter the sign of Aries on May 24th, where it will transit through September 1st. And Neptune is in Aries through October 22nd until it returns the sign of Pisces. And we have Saturn inching up because it's now at 27 degrees of Pisces, also getting close to the fixed star known as Shiat, which I've talked about in length, but this is a degree where you want to be taking care of yourself and nurturing yourself. If you're dealing with depression, anxiety, alienation, if you have addiction or mental health issues, or you know others that do, this is where it could be more of a struggle with planets, where we had Venus and Mercury went over that degree 3 times. And now we have Saturn coming to that degree, and it will return to 29 degrees of Pisces on September 1st when it leaves Aries, where it will be again from May 24th through September 1st. And that's just focusing on healing, on being creative. It has a lot of wisdom, that degree of the zodiac, but it also can be connected very much with depression and self-undoing. So we want to take extra care. And this is where I feel also, because Neptune rules the sign of Pisces, and we had Saturn and Neptune both transiting in Pisces. They're not going to meet up. They never met up exactly. They will be in the sign of Aries next February at 0 degrees and 45 minutes of Aries. So that's a whole new cycle. They meet up approximately every 37 years. The last time they met up was in 1989 when they were in Capricorn, which among other things represents structures. Saturn rules the sign of Capricorn. Saturn met up with Neptune, which dissolves, and the Berlin Wall came down. So that was the last time they met up, and they will be meeting up at the world point, 0 degrees, just 45 minutes off. And that will be a whole new story But we are all, remember, this is impacting whether or not we're world famous or we're involved in a world event with Neptune transiting close to this degree and Venus initiating the story, etc. We are all working on the collective to build and structure a new dream. Neptune is tapping into your healing ability, to your empathy, because a lot of us in the last 5 years, I think between the pandemic and other really heightened world events that are occurring for all of us right now, it's hard. People are more impatient. People are more anxious. They're less likely. I mean, I'm not saying some people aren't having good things happen, but realistically, it's a tough time. And I think that Neptune, even though it was in its dignity in Pisces, and it's not done yet with Pisces, we know that. It'll come back on October 22nd. Even so, Neptune in Aries is saying, fight for your dream. Take action for your dream. Mars is now no longer in its shadow. Hallelujah. That's today. And it's no longer in the sign of Cancer, where it left on April 18th because it's in its fall position. This is moving forward, Mars and Leo. Leo rules the heart and the heart chakra with love and with all that we've learned through Neptune and Pisces. Now the North Node is there. We're meant to go towards Piscean energy. And obviously we want to go towards the higher vibration, which is selfless love, altruism, compassion, magical creativity, tapping into healing modalities, music, art, anything that appeals to you that involves love and magic and dreams and beauty. And that is partial to what you like, but coming from a place of kindness, I think that's important. And people are fired up right now. I will say that because we have Venus and Neptune close to the world point, and Venus is technically in its detriment in Aries. So normally, we would be celebrating more when Venus was in Pisces because it's exalted there. But Venus got sandwiched or got kind of hit, between, Saturn and Neptune, and it got, it met up 3 times with Saturn and it met up 3 times with Neptune, the third time being today in a new sign. And Saturn is not causing challenges with this. So that's good. And so this is about tapping into dream. We've got over the weekend, let's see, so the moon's in Cancer right now. It's squared Mercury. That can be a bit challenging. It's going to go void early in the morning. It's going to enter the sign of Leo, the cardinal fire sign of Leo, where Mars has just cleared its shadow and Mars is still transiting. And it's going to enter the sign of Aries at 7:29 a.m. Eastern, not of Leo, sorry, at 7:29 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And it's going to trine Neptune and Venus. Let's see, I believe, now I forgot the times. I remember the more challenging times. But that's nice energy, very creative. Venus and Neptune is magical energy around creativity and love and, again, what we're talking about here. But it will set off the recent Mars-Pluto opposition because it will, let's see, it's going to oppose Pluto at 2:25 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that can be letting go of something. So maybe you're, working out what the Mars-Pluto opposition brought up for you, or there could be fiery energy. Mars and Moon in Leo is a fun, festive, celebratory moon and a romantic moon, but it can get, it's a fire sign. And opposing Pluto could be definitely tough. And then it meets up with Mars at 8:13 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that could be having a lot of fun, getting really into it and being passionate, but people could get fired up in a more combative way too. So just recognizing that. And then on Sunday, the big kicker is that Pluto retrogrades at 11:27 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 3 degrees and 49 minutes of the fixed air sign of Aquarius. And we have felt the buildup because you feel an outer planet when it stations either retrograde or direct 5 days before and 5 days after. And it exaggerates the tendencies of that planet. And Pluto deals with transformation. It deals with death and rebirth. There could be more departures with this energy. We've seen departures in the administration. It deals with people in power. Mike Waltz obviously just left his position and is transitioning to something. We saw the agreements with Ukraine, the mineral agreement, and we're seeing some progress, I suppose, and that's another direction where dealing with people in power. And what was the third thing? Oh, I saw that Morgan Stanley said that I saw, not that they told me, I saw it's something about that they're going to start trading cryptocurrency, which is interesting because the Pluto station in Aquarius would be dealing with different new currencies like cryptocurrency, which people that are in the traditional stock market and are really old school, and I know it's changed a lot, are probably pretty tenuous about it. I know people that are in that field that definitely weren't crazy about it. That's a few years back. But realistically, like all of us, whether we have mixed feelings about AI or other things where there can be definite reasons to have it, or social media in general, we're realizing that we have to evolve our skills because technology is going to go in so many directions and with so many new platforms and things will be utilizing. And obviously AI is pervading the world, but it's going to take another level. And there are some positive things are going to be positive that you can do with it, but we don't want to be replaced. And so we have to open ourselves to that because Pluto's in Aquarius the next 19 years. And Pluto it can deal with joint resources, and I think of stocks and bonds. Leo or fifth house can be investments, but definitely I've always thought of Scorpio as the stock market and investments in stocks and bonds. So seeing that world perhaps shift, in the near future, and Morgan Stanley, I guess, taking the lead. So what are we saying here? Venus, Neptune, focus on a new dream, what you have for the future, how you can be courageous in Aries. So it's not about ego or it's a changing ego in a sense of being more about other people, Neptune, but also about finding a way to heal yourself physically. Maybe you're getting into some new exercise or health routines, how to forge ahead in a challenging time with enthusiasm. Aries is if it's the child of the zodiac, happy children like to have fun and do things. I have a friend in high school that was born by the spring equinox, and so her sun is at the world point. She's the beginning of the zodiac. And she was always a lot of fun. She was always looking for adventures and to do things. And she was not what some think of as like an Aries hothead. So don't be an Aries hothead. Try to let the moon in Leo, and it is making some good aspects and more challenging, but try to have some fun and focus on what your new dream is and how you can contribute to love in this tough time. Thank you, and talk to you soon.